can hear you very well.
Clear. Nice. Great.
Let me just see if we can be seen on the page as well.
Yeah, please. And we are recording this session as well.
Parul, let me just see if we can be seen on the page and then we'll start.
Okay.
Okay. Just give me 5 minutes. Let me just confirm.
Sure.
Okay, Dr. Parul. Yeah, so I'll start.
Yeah, we are live.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Astha Chakravarti. I'm a fertility specialist. Today I have with me Dr. Parul Patni. Dr. Parul is a nutritionist. She holds a diploma in dietetics from IHM USA. She specializes in lifestyle diseases and weight management. She has 15 years of experience and she has consulted over 7,000 clients all over the world. She currently writes for timesnownews.com. Dr. Parul, I welcome you here.
Thank you, Dr. Astha.
Thank you. So, today we are going to discuss specifically the role of diet in fertility. Dr. Parul is an expert in that area. We know lifestyle plays a major role in fertility when people are trying to conceive naturally or with assisted reproduction. But today we are specifically going to focus on the diet part of it. Dr. Parul, I want to know, my first question to you is diet actually related to fertility and does it affect the sperm quality and egg quality?
There are a lot of researches which support this statement, and diet can be hugely related to the sperm quality or the egg quality. So definitely, diet plays a very important role.
Can you actually specify as to which diet and what to include in diet and what to avoid in diet?
So see, there
मतलब
are
क्या
specific
क्या
foods
हमें
which
खाना
can.
चाहिए क्या नहीं खाना चाहिए. Those are very common questions that I ask, that I have often asked by patients कि हम क्या खाएं, and even when they're not pregnant and just trying, they want to know whether they should be avoiding some things like papaya, coffee. So what is your take on that?
So let's start one by one on this. First of all, let's hear what will help, right? So
Yeah.
for women to improve egg quality, they need to first of all, include a lot of nuts for a good amount of omega, zinc, and manganese in their diet because they are the richest sources of all these three. Secondly, they need to have good amount of folic acid in the diet, so they should have a lot of fruits. Then third of all, B12, and to all the listeners right now, in vegetarian diet, B12 is usually deficient, and hence, if they're in contact with you, they should actually ask for supplement or should get it tested. But if someone is a non-vegetarian, then having eggs, fish, all these things will really, really help in having optimal levels of B12. Apart from this, we always talk about good fats, right? And good fats do not come from ghee and butter, right? So the good fat that we talk about has to be from a vegetarian source. One should include good amount of nuts. Now, when I say good amount of nuts, it doesn't mean 250 grams or 100 grams. It just means that you can have 5 to 8 almonds or one walnut in one day. Apart from that, one must include seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seed, melon seeds. These seeds are good sources of fat as well as micro minerals that we just talked about, zinc and magnesium and all. Right. Apart from that, there's something very important that women must have if they're trying to conceive, which is isoflavonoids. Now, isoflavonoids are present in soya and flaxseed in good amount. So maybe you can add little soya flour to your chapati. Maybe you can have soya milk. Maybe you can have soya dal. Any soya product would do for that matter. Or having flaxseed. Now, flaxseed can have dual impact. It is definitely high in phytoestrogen, which is isoflavonoids. And secondly, it is also high in omega, a vegetarian source, right? So for women, this is what they should be having. So if I count on fingers, it is nuts, good amount of fruits. If they're non-vegetarian, then egg and fish should be included. And apart from that, a little bit of soya or alsi should be included in diet. So some 4 5 foods that one must have on daily basis, right?
So flex seeds we have on a
Now,
daily basis. So flex
yeah,
seed
on
should be
daily
taken
basis, at least on daily basis, 1 teaspoon of flaxseed powder, or you can sprinkle it over your salad, curd, or maybe in the chapati, in the dough, any form
Oh,
that one likes.
yes.
So we talked
And
about, sorry.
no, please continue.
Yeah, so I was telling you about this was what women should do to have better egg quality or better fertility. Now, when we come to the sperm quality, then men must have a lot of omega, right? They must include a lot of antioxidants. Omega, as we discussed, one can have walnut, alsi, you can have fishes, which are high on omega. Now, the other thing, antioxidants. Antioxidants, the major source will be fruits and vegetables. And when
Yeah.
we talk about fruits and vegetables, it has to be local. We're not talking about those berries that come in packets. No, those dried
True.
berries and all. No, fresh fruit is a good source of antioxidant that one must have. Right. So these are few things that can really turn things around. And also one must limit for both the genders, one must limit intake of trans fats. When we talk about good fat, I talked about plant.
Dr. Parul, could you elaborate on trans fats? Could you
Yeah.
elaborate on
So
trans fats?
yeah, trans fats are basically fatty acids that are present in bakery products. Your biscuit, rusk, pastries, they have a lot of trans fats. Or if you're having samosa from the sweet shop, all these have trans fats, and they are not good for our aim. So that is why one must include lot of mufas and pufas present in seeds and nuts, to be very very clear.
Yeah. Okay. What about baked snacks? They are quite in these days. So are they good enough to take baked snacks? I
See,
mean, I don't know if
that's a tricky question. Some of them are good and some of them aren't. So depending on the brand, and we'll have to see. But it's as far as possible. Have murmura, have makhanas, have little bit of peanuts, have little bit of nuts or seeds when you're hungry, or have a proper snack. Don't go for these packed foods as far as possible.
and what is the best time to have seeds? Early
I
morning
would
or
recommend that, since we early morning we recommend nuts, so maybe someone can have seeds either with the fruits or when you're generally hungry after lunch and you're waiting for your evening tea, say around 4ish, 3ish,
Okay.
one can have seeds, and the amount that one can have is around 10 to 15 grams. So if I take it by spoon, so I say 2 to 3 spoons of seeds one can have in a day. कुछ बहुत ज्यादा नहीं खाना है, थोड़ा थोड़ा.
Okay. So which means अगर flex seed खाया, you can have almonds with it. साथ में खा सकते
Yes.
हैं या अलग-अलग टाइम पे खा
Walnut
सकते
खा
हैं.
सकते हैं, अलग अलग टाइम पे भी खा सकते हैं.
Almonds भी खा सकते हैं.
Almonds भी खा सकते हैं. Better sources are flaxseed and walnut.
There is a common saying कि lot of patients ask us whether there is कुछ गरम ठंडे वाला concept when trying for pregnancy, not during pregnancy, but when trying for pregnancy. So, what is your comments on that? Is there anything like this
No,
garam foods or
नहीं,
something?
Dr. Askar, in science we do not believe in hot and cold food. So this is a
Yeah.
very Indian concept, more towards naturopathy and Ayurveda and what Dadima we would tell at home. ये गरम है, ये ठंडा है. But science has no proof and we don't go beyond that. We go by proof.
Agree with you completely. Okay, so let's come to carbohydrates. Which carbohydrates would you specifically would you like to mention something which is good for fertility or should be included in the diet, and what should be avoided?
Right. So there are three major components of diet. One is carbohydrate, one is fat that we just discussed, and third is protein, which we call macros. Three macros of our diet. So carbohydrate जो होना चाहिए वो हमारे whole grains होने चाहिए. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल हम सर्दियों में बाजरे का आटा खाते हैं, गर्मियों में जौ का आटा खाते हैं, गेहूं का आटा खाते हैं. कोशिश करिए कि हम चक्की वाला आटा लें जिसके अंदर फाइबर होता है, ब्रान होता है, वो छना हुआ नहीं होता. वो आटा ज्यादा अच्छा होता है सेहत के लिए क्योंकि उसके अंदर अगेन माइक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट्स ज्यादा अच्छे होते हैं एंड पूफा ज्यादा अच्छे होते हैं. इसके लिए हमें होल ग्रेन्स लेने चाहिए. एंड स्टडीज ये बहुत सपोर्ट करती हैं कि अगर हम बहुत ज्यादा मैदा या सूजी, जो भी हमारे रिफाइंड सीरियल्स होते हैं, जैसे हमने बिस्किट खाया, इन सबको लेते हैं तो दे डू इम्पैक्ट फर्टिलिटी. दैट इज वाई होल ग्रेन्स लेना ज्यादा अच्छा है. चाहे आप भाकरी की फॉर्म में ले, खाकरे की फॉर्म में ले, रोटी के फॉर्म में ले, खिचड़ी की फॉर्म में ले. सो ये जो हम लोगों का देसी इंडियन खाना है, इट इज कंप्लीट इन इटसेल्फ.
True, you're right, absolutely right. What about rice, Dr. Parul? Is brown rice better in any form? Pardon?
Rice should be once in a while.
Once. Okay. Which rice?
See, if you're having rice once a week, it can be white or brown as per your taste. Right. When we talk about cereals, क्योंकि हमें वो 3 बार खाना होता है, breakfast, lunch and dinner, that is why वो whole grain होना बहुत जरूरी होता है. But अगर हम राइस की बात करें और हमें हफ्ते में एक ही बार खाना है तो
Doesn't matter.
might as well enjoy this rice.
Okay, some people have rice as a part of their diet in some parts of our country. So would you like to shift them to some grains or not?
No. What I said was in our North Indian scenario where people eat basmati. But if you go towards Kolkata, you go towards down south, the rice is mostly parboiled or red rice, which is perfectly healthy. They don't need to change it. Here towards north belt, we have a lot of other grains and rice is polished rice. That is why they need to limit. Else, there's no need at all.
And is there a specific way of cooking the rice? Like if we throw off the starch, then it's fine to take. And if we steam the rice, it's not good to take. Anything of that sort?
So definitely when you are pressure cooking rice, it has more starch. When you're boiling water and throwing away the water, it has less starch. But see, rice in itself is a little starchy grain because it has been polished. That is why one has to limit the quantity. Maybe a bowl or bowl and a half per week. That's it. then it won't make a difference.
Okay. Or
Yeah.
shift to the other type of rice.
If you're fond of it.
Okay. 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 Dr. Parul, what about fats? We've talked a little about the fats, good fats. So, what about cooking oil and all? What should be used
Yeah. So
specifically with fertility concerns?
see, majorly what the listeners have to do is that they have to avoid using olive oil for cooking. Olive oil is high in MUFA, a very rich source of MUFA. But since Indian cooking happens at a very high temperature, the MUFAs often get denatured, right? That is why for us, it should be mustard oil, canola oil, peanut oil, till oil, flaxseed oil. These are mostly very heat stable oils. And yes, as per the latest FDA guidelines, you should use more of cold compressed oil, जिसको हम कच्ची घानी का तेल बोलते हैं. जो ये सरसों का तेल कच्ची घानी आता है, सरसों का तेल आप कभी रिफाइंड नहीं देखेंगे, मोस्टली कच्ची घानी होता है, right? So that is
Yeah.
cold compressed. That is why it smells a bit,
It
right?
does.
So
Difficult to
one
use.
must use those.
Okay, so you would suggest that we should switch to mustard oil and this groundnut oil. Dr. Parul,
Mustard,
can you?
groundnut, canola, till, flaxseed.
Okay, and what about ghee and butter? Is it good? Is it not good? Does it make you put on
It
weight?
is
Or
okay in
I've
moderation.
heard some, I've heard some dietitians also saying that it's good to take butter, and you should actually take it. I'm not sure what is the right thing to say, but I want to know your opinion
These
on
are
that.
all, when a dietitian says that you must have ghee, she also says that you must exercise for 1 hour,
Yeah, definitely.
right? You cannot do what suits you, right? So I would really recommend that you do everything in moderation. You don't have to go out of the way to include something. So if we talk about ghee or butter, you can keep it to 1.5 teaspoon in a day. For example, you buttered your toast a bit and used maybe half teaspoon of ghee for dal. That's it. So that
Okay.
will be moderate amount of ghee or butter. Saturated fats have to be limited.
So you would suggest to include MUFAs and PUFAs specifically for a fertility diet, right?
Yes, they are very important.
Okay. So let's come to the next macro, the proteins.
Which is proteins. Yeah.
Which
So,
proteins should be
uh,
taken?
so again, when it comes to protein, of course, meat is a good source of protein when we talk about chicken and fish and all. But the point is that one must not have red meat. Red meat would, sort of reduce the fertility. Secondly, the preserved meats, the cold cuts, those should be avoided. Those kebabs and sausages, they should be avoided. But if one is taking fish or fresh chicken, which is normally cooked at home, it is perfectly all right. Then eggs, you can easily include eggs, maybe one egg per day. It's a good source of iron as well as vitamin D, which is very deficient. B12, that's present in yolk in good amounts. So these are things that one can include in protein. Now, this was for non-vegetarians. Now, vegetarians, dal and dairy, yani pulses and dairy. These are the two major sources of protein. When we talk about dairy, please do not have full cream milk, the bhais ka doodh. That has to be avoided. For fertility, experts recommend that you go for low-fat dairy. It can be from 2 to 4% fat, and this figure is written on the pack when you buy milk. If you read carefully the back side of the packet, 4% fat is written on the toned milk. So you can have up to 4% fat, or if you can go completely, with the skimmed milk, that's also fine.
So toned or double toned is okay to take, but not full cream.
Full cream one must avoid for, fertility.
Dr. Paul, what about women who are underweight? We also have a set who's underweight. So would you recommend them to take full cream or they should also avoid?
See, there are two kinds of underweight people. One, genetically thin, right? For them, they must be eating well, but they're genetically thin people. So you don't have to increase any kind of nutrient or caloric intake. Now, the other kinds are they may not be eating or they have digestive issues. कुछ लोगों को
Hmm.
खाना अच्छे से पचता नहीं है because of which वो कुछ भी खाते हैं तो वो लोग पतले ही रहते हैं, राइट?
Right.
हम लोग फिर भी रेकमेंड नहीं करते कि आप बहुत ज्यादा सैचुरेटेड फैट्स बढ़ाओ. बेटर है कि आप होल ग्रेन्स, पल्सेस, लीन मीट, एग्स, ये सारी चीजें बढ़ाएं और एक मॉडरेट एक्सरसाइज करें टू गेन हेल्दी वेट. अनहेल्दी वेट गेन करना इज अगेन नॉट रेकमेंडेड.
Okay.
एंड
And what about those protein powders which are available? Should women be taking them or avoiding them, or is diet a much better way of increasing your protein intake rather than shifting to such supplements?
see, it is always better that one includes protein through diet rather than taking supplements. I'll tell you a reason behind it. जब आप इकट्ठे बहुत ज्यादा प्रोटीन लेते हैं, बॉडी उतना प्रोटीन एकदम से असिमिलेट नहीं कर पाती है, राइट? बिकॉज ऑफ
Right.
विच दैट प्रोटीन वुड गो वेस्ट और इट विल गेट कन्वर्टेड इनटू फैट. अगर आप सच में अच्छी एब्जॉर्प्शन चाहते हैं प्रोटीन की, इट शुड बी स्प्रेड आउट ड्यूरिंग द डे. यानी ब्रेकफास्ट से लेके डिनर तक थोड़ा 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 फैट प्रोटीन्स होने चाहिए. So, and it will really help to gain weight also and strength also.
Yes.
And
Yes, Dr. Baru. You're right. Okay.
having 5 egg whites and a protein shake will lead you nowhere.
I know. I know. There's so many supplements these are which are available these days. So even people are confused. And we know the Indian diet is not very high on protein, especially the vegetarian diet. So somehow, somewhere, people end up taking these supplements.
Because we don't eat well, we don't plan our diet smartly.
We have
Else
things
one
around.
can,
हमारा खाना बहुत सिंपल है, अच्छा भी है, पर पता नहीं क्यों हमें फिर भी सप्लीमेंट्स की जरूरत पड़ती रहती है.
जितना अनप्रोसेस्ड जाएंगे, जितना डब्बे में से नहीं खाएंगे, जितना फ्रेश होगा उतना ही अच्छा है.
जितना फ्रोजन नहीं खाएंगे उतना अच्छा रहेगा. फ्रोजन, पैक्ड, पैकेज,
Preserved नहीं
प्रोसेस.
होना चाहिए. Yeah, package and
Same
process.
with
Because you don't know
same with
which chemical has
juices.
been added.
Agree. And let's come to fruits and vegetables. So you already said कि हमें fresh fruits, vegetables खाने चाहिए. कुछ और vitamins, minerals के लिए हम कुछ और खा सकते हैं fruits, vegetables के अलावा?
See, mostly fruits and vegetables are classified as food rich in vitamins and minerals. That is why हम उस पे ज़्यादा insist करते हैं. एक और study है जो कि बहुत interesting थी, which says that women who have more junk food and have less fruit are more prone to infertility, because egg quality impact होती है जब आप junk food खाते हो, and egg quality अच्छी होती है जब आप fruits खाते हो. तो आई वुड से जो भी लिसनर्स है हमारे, कि कम से कम 3 to 4 फ्रूट्स इन अ डे अगर आप खा रहे हैं तो आपको वैसे भी जंक फूड की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, राइट? बिकॉज यू विल फील फुल.
So you would say 3 to 4 fruits in a day.
Yes, absolutely. See, because one gets hungry around mid morning, which is the fruit time, then post lunch around 4ish, which is again the fruit time. So
Post
biscuit
dinner is
namkeen nahi khana hai. The trans
any specific
fats.
any specific fruits to be taken? Yeah, avoided both.
No, one must include lot of variety. And the papaya myth that we talked in start of the talk, um, papaya has nothing to do with the spontaneous abortion or any such thing. So the story goes, in earlier times when doctors were not around, and अगर अबॉर्शन कराना होता था किसी को, तो जो हकीम या वैद होते थे वो पपाया का बीज का पाउडर दिया करते थे. दैट इज वाई वहां से ही चला आ रहा है कि पपाया नहीं खाना चाहिए. बट पपाया एज अ फ्रूट इज फाइन if you take in moderation.
So papaya even
Only
in
if you have
pregnancy
two,
is
three
fine then.
kgs. Sorry?
Which you mean to say कि even in pregnancy papaya is fine if taken in small amounts.
Yes, yes, small portions and it is fine. It is said that only if you have 2, 3 kgs will it lead to some kind of issue, which is unnatural to have. So
Right.
that is why it's okay.
What about pineapple? That the saying goes with pineapple also.
Same goes with pineapple. No fruit is contraindicated in pregnancy or fertility. No side effect at all. One thing, yes, since we are talking about this, once a person conceives, once a woman conceives, then she should not have ulcer. That's a very
Okay.
important point. Flaxseed discontinue करने होते हैं once you conceive because they are high on phytoestrogens. They help you conceive, but once you conceive, you must reduce. I mean, not have them at all.
Okay. Okay. So they're fine with pre-conception, not okay with conception.
Absolutely fine. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay. Okay, Dr. Parul. What about dairy? Can you specify? So fruits, minerals, we've done almost. Anything specific in dairy? We talked about low-fat milk and which cheese to include, which paneer,
So,
and how much. I want to know the portion also. How much paneer should be taken?
so a normal intake would be around 50 to 70 grams of paneer. So the packed paneer that you get, which is in brick form, it is 210 grams. You take 1/3 of that. Now,
Per day.
when we talk about paneer, खुला पनीर नहीं खाना. जो
What's wrong with khulla paneer, Dr. Parul?
उसके अंदर फैट कंटेंट बहुत ज्यादा होता है. Maybe they adulterated with little arrowroot because it just melts in your mouth. You don't have to chew on it,
Yeah, it's very soft.
right?
Really
It's
softer
very
than,
soft.
yeah.
And you make that paneer at home. Can you do that?
No.
घर में बनाना
The-
बहुत मुश्किल है.
Even that khulla paneer is more tasty than the packed paneer. It is softer and
Because
easy
of
to
the fat
take also.
content.
Because of the fat content. What about the protein? Is it lesser in that?
No, no, no. Protein content is the same. That's how we calculate. But one must try and make paneer at home from toned milk, right? And or if you cannot, then it's better that you go with the those brands like Mother Dairy or Amul. They are 4% fat and better than khulla paneer. Hello. I guess we've lost connection, Dr. Rasta.